Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Raj Malhotra IAS. Welcome to our daily Hindu newspaper analysis. Right? Everyone is fit and fine, I hope. Good morning, everyone who have been joined our session. Okay, we're gonna start the session for today. Let's come to the main news that is there in today's newspaper. The first thing that you can see over here, we won't pay a farthing more, says Union Carbide. Now I think everyone knows that in 1984 a great tragedy struck in this particular company, that is Union Carbide company, that led to the leakage of methyl isocyanate. Very important. And it is famously also called as the Bhopal gas leak tragedy. It had a very devastating and a destructive impact on the people that were living or that were working in that particular area. Still, we could say tremors and the horrors we have seen of this Bhopal gas tragedy. And the basic issue that has now erupted is the compensation that is being demanded from this Union Carbide Corporation that was responsible for, let's say, the loss of lots of people. Now this is the thing that has been in news. Now this Bhopal gas tragedy is very important if we see it in our environment rules and regulations. This particular event is very important in the connection of our environment rules and regulations, as after this Bhopal gas tragedy, that is 1984, we suddenly enacted Environment Protection Act 1986. Now you have to understand that before this Bhopal gas leak tragedy, we did not have, let's say, a particular comprehensive legislation related to protection of environment. It was after this Bhopal gas leak tragedy of this methyl isocyanate that we enacted this particular act, that is Environment Protection Act 1986. And this is the new tussle that is now going on between the center and this particular corporation regarding to the compensation that is being demanded more from the Union Carbide Corporation, right? तो ये basic issue है जो हमारे सामने है, that we won't pay a farthing more, says Union Carbide. The next news that is very important is let's come to this page. Tamil Nadu governor objects to Andhra Arasu use. Now I think everyone is aware of this particular fact, the development that has taken place in Tamil Nadu related to the walkout by the Tamil Nadu governor. There has been an editorial also related to this particular context. So we would discuss this whole issue. What is the whole issue? What were the main problems that are there between the, let's say, Tamil Nadu governor and the government, and where it stands in relation of center-state relations, right? So the main problem Tamil Nadu governor says was the usage of Andhra Arasu use. Now we will try to understand in the editorial what is the meaning of Andhra Arasu, right? तो वहां पे समझेंगे कि Andhra Arasu क्या है. Good morning everyone who has joined us, right? Next is the Supreme Court to hear Joshimath crisis plea on January 16. Now I think everyone is aware of the situation that has happened across the Joshimath area, where there has been a problem of land subsidence and it has created havoc in that particular area. The center has now responded, along with states are also now responding, but we have to see what lies for the future of the residents living in the area around this Joshimath area, right? तो अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट के इसके रिलेटेड प्लीज वगैरह सुनी जाएंगी, because there have been a lot of demands to actually decide whether it is this particular disaster that has taken place over in the Joshimath area is a natural disaster or a man-made disaster. So let's see what Supreme Court has to say on January 16 related to this particular event, that is the Joshimath crisis. One thing we have to note, that whatever the Supreme Court ruling might be related to, let's say, Joshimath area, one thing we have to understand, that somehow we can say one thing, that it is the unsustainable development. It is the unsustainable development that has led to this whole new crisis. Yes, development is very, very important, but we have to make sure you have to understand the geography, you have to understand the ecology of particular area where you are trying to introduce, let's say, any development projects. Whether it is the widening of the roads, whether it is the Chardham highway project, whether it's the Tapovan Vishnugad hydro project. So we have to see whether the events or the development that we are taking is sustainable or not. As a result, somehow we can attribute this particular disaster to one particular thing, that is unsustainable development, right? Chaliye, can anyone tell me in the comment box, hurry up, what are the sustainable development goals? The number and the total targets. Write down quickly in the comment box how many sustainable development goals that we have and how many targets that we have to achieve as the world by 2030. Quickly write in the comment box if you know about this, right? Chaliye ji, next page pe chalte. Now we are done with the basic analysis of what is there in the front page. Chaliye, there is nothing that much important over here in the regional page. Let's say in the states page as well, nothing that much important. Okay, now moving to the editorial part, that is very, very important. Let's see over here. The article says bad and ugly. A governor's departure for convention has set off unsavory events. Let's try to understand the whole situation. Very good, Komal. These are the 17 sustainable development goals that we have to achieve by 2030 and total targets are 169. Now let's try to focus on what is the issue that is there in front of us. Basically, the tussle is between governor and let's say the state government. Now the problem is that every new session, let's say at the beginning of the new year, government addresses the assembly, legislative assembly, and he has to, let's say, present a speech that is being written or that is being presented to it by the executive. That is presented to it by the executive. Now, there was a certain speech, there were certain things that were given to the governor regarding on which the governor had to address that particular legislative assembly. But the problem arose when governor missed or omitted certain portions of speech. Certain portions of speech. There were certain references in the speech like the contribution of E. Ramaswamy Naikar, and there were certain references like Dravidian model. That was basically not being said by the governor. As a result, it urged or it led to, let's say, the CM of Tamil Nadu, let's say, passing a resolution that whatever the governor has not said would not be counted. It would be the total speech that was written and that was presented it to by the executive that would be counted as a whole, not this particular omissions that have been taken by the governor. As a result, governor then walk off, or we could say he walked out of the assembly. Now this has created a lot of tussle that is there between the governor and the state government. Now this is a very, very important issue if we try to consider center-state relations. Center-state relations. This is not the only issue that is basically there if we try to say related to the tussle that are going between the Tamil Nadu governor and the government. There have been certain bills that have not been passed by the government. There have been certain bills that have not been passed by the governor, that not have been passed by the governor. And the cherry on the cake was this particular issue that resulted in the governor walking off because he omitted certain portions of the speech that he had to discuss. Now the convention that has been, let's say, continued in this process when particular governor is particularly addressing the assembly, that he has to say whatever is written in the speech. But this is not the first time that any governor has, let's say, deviated from, let's say, speech and omitted certain portions. But it was like this particular time that the CM of Tamil Nadu particularly passed a resolution, initiated a resolution that this whole speech would be counted, not the omitted portions. Now this, here comes the debate between center-state relations, right? Because this particular entity is appointed by the, let's say, center, and we try to say this is particularly an agent of the center. So as a result, certain bills that should have been passed by the, let's say, Tamil Nadu governor were not passed, and as a result this whole situation has escalated a lot. One thing we have to understand, that the basic constitutional head, that is the governor of a state, its main aim is to make sure that it is, let's say, passing the bills according to the executive directions. Now this is the very, very important issue that has now erupted, and we have to see in the coming stances what holds there in future in relation to center-state relations, that is between this governor thing and this state government of Tamil Nadu. The one things that were very, very important from here that came out was the omission of word, that is Dravidian model, that is basically aimed at social inclusion, peace and prosperity, where direct benefits are given to the targeted audience. Now this is the whole issue, and we have to see what lies in there for future if we talk about center-state relations. But this is a very, very low point if we talk about the coordination that is there between the central and the state government in the context of Tamil Nadu, right? Okay, I hope this point is clear to you guys, and this whole clarity is there related to this particular thing. One thing you have to understand, that it is not any constitutional provision, it is the constitutional convention that the governor has to say each and everything that is presented to it on the speech, right? But उन्होंने यहाँ से deviation किया, as a result the CM of Tamil Nadu moved a resolution against it. Clear? So this is the thing that is related to this particular thing that is now going on in the State Assembly of Tamil Nadu, right? चलिए, moving to the next part. Now we have this particular article, that lesson from Russia's Ukraine war. One thing we have to understand, that let's say after 1976, 1978, we could say the world was unilaterally ruled by USA. But after, let's say, USA had its failed campaigns in Iraq, in Afghanistan, growing militancy of Iran, let's say, in West Asia, it has now changed the whole structure or the geopolitics if we talk about in the world arena. In the world arena, this is a new thing that is happening now in the world arena, as now we could see how Russia has been able to emerge as a world leader till this Ukraine war. Had it not been the West, one thing this article wants to say, had it not been the West, Russia could have easily defeated Ukraine. It could have easily defeated the Ukraine, but the money, the weapons, the latest, let's say, artilleries, missile system, mercenaries that are being now given to the Ukraine by the West in order to counter the Russia has played a very, very instrumental role, in tackling Russia. This is the thing that this particular editorial wants to say, how the West has applied itself in this Ukraine area and tried to control the Russia. This thing we have to understand, how this external politics, or we could say IR, in terms of America that they have played in order to control Russia, right? So ये चीज बड़ी interesting है. So that is a particular editorial, that is lessons from Russia's Ukraine war. Nothing that much significant from, let's say, any questions point of view, but you just have to know the basic scenario what is there, right? तो ये चीज थोड़ी सी जो आपको समझनी चाहिए. चलिए, now the beginning of India's cultural renaissance. Now one thing we have to know, that there is the mission that is there of the government to become developed nation by 2047. To become developed nation by 2047. And for India to achieve this, there are certain things that we can do, right? We have to achieve the $5 trillion, let's say, economy. There are a lot of things that we have to do as a developed country, or as the notions that a developed nation has to do, so that we can achieve the status of developed nation by 2047. But in this regard, one of the important thing that we have to make sure is, if we have to become the developed country, we need to have cultural integration. We need to have cultural integration. So in this regard, there were contacts, let's say earlier, if we go to ancient times, between, let's say, Kashi and Tamil societies. In order to, let's say, the dark age that came, that broke this particular connect, has now been newly renewed through this particular new Sangam that was recently held by the name of Kashi Tamil Sangam, where lot of scholars came and visited Kashi and held their views and enjoyed the glorified past of, let's say, this particular area. And the most important thing that this particular Sangam tried to highlight was the textile sector. Now this thing is very, very interesting, because our Prime Minister also tries to lay more and more focus on the traditional textile industry. In this traditional textile industry. So this is one of the steps that is there in order to create cultural integrations that got lost in the medieval times, that existed before, between our great cultural, that we could say, history that we have. So in the coming times, there we could see another Sangams that could be held, let's say in Tamil Nadu as well, and across the vastly great that cultures that we have, so that we can reunite this whole cultural thing and present to the world as one cultural integrated society. So this is the thing that this particular editorial says can lead us to the path of developed country by 2047. So this particular editorial is about the Kashi Tamil Sangam, that is very, very important, that tried to reconnect the lost ties that existed way before, let's say, the ancient times. I hope this point is clear. The beginning of India's cultural renaissance. This is just cultural renaissance. Renaissance का मतलब होता है rebirth. Very, very important to understand. The meaning of renaissance is rebirth. So we are trying to give rebirth to our rich cultural values, so the people across the country know about the historical links they had, and what are the different cultures, what are the different aspects of culture, and we value each other's culture. I hope this point is clear to everyone. This was a particular editorial. This particular editorial, that is Riot of Losers, is related to the thing that is going on in the Brazil, where the outgoing president Bolsonaro supporters have just created riot in the democratic institutions like the Congress, the Presidential Palace and the Supreme Court. It is now time. The people who lose their elections don't, we could say, behave as losers. Just accept what is there in front of you. If you have lost the elections, accept it. Come next time and then fight for the election by doing some good things for the people of Brazil. So this is particular editorial that is related to Bolsonaro and about the new president that has come up in the Brazilian sphere. Can anyone tell me in the comment box who is the new president of Brazil? You have just 10 seconds to write it down. Quickly write it down. Okay. I will move to the next part. This editorial is not that much important over here. Now, The stalemate between Telangana and Andhra Pradesh. Okay, Suvind, very nice. You have quickly written in the comment box that it is Lula di Silva. Okay, now I think everyone knows that Telangana was carved out of Andhra Pradesh from the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act 2014. Now the dispute is related to the dispute that has now came up or has come up between Andhra Pradesh and Telangana is the how the asset and liabilities is gonna be bifurcated among Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. The main issue is over here is bifurcation of asset and liabilities. Now Andhra Pradesh is saying they need to stick to the recommendations made by Sheila Bhide. They have to stick to the recommendations that were made by Sheila Bhide. This word is very, very important. She was head of an expert committee that said that bifurcation that we taken off 89 out of 91 schedule 9 notifications. Very, very important. This thing you have to understand that there is a issue is there related to the distribution of asset and liabilities between Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Telangana was carved out of Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act. After the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act, now the issue is related to how they would be bifurcated. There have been meetings that have been organized by the Home Secretaries. There have been meetings organized by the Home Minister, but nothing conclusive has come related to this particular aspect. And we have to see what in the coming future lies hold for this particular stalemate between Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So as a result, now Andhra Pradesh has moved to Supreme Court seeking just, reasonable and equitable apportionment of assets and liabilities. Now this thing we have to understand, the various issues that goes on between the states are not being able to resolve by themselves, by any interstate council or by the efforts of the center. It is finally the issues are moved to the Supreme Court, who then announces their verdict. But it is not good if we talk about, let's say, our federal structure of the country, right? So this is the stalemate that has erupted between Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, as there is a new stalemates that are there related to the border disputes between the northeastern states, along with the new Belgavi issue that has erupted between Madhya Pradesh and Karnataka. I hope you are able to relate this particular concepts and are able to understand what are the problems that are going on between the states' relationships. It is, some relations are disputed due to the sharing of waters. Some are issues are there related to, let's say, territorial jurisdictions, right? So this is basically the issue is about how this particular assets would be bifurcated that are notified in schedule 9 notification. I hope this point is clear to you guys. No, they haven't solved their asset and liability cases yet. 8 साल हो चुके हैं, अभी तक उन्होंने solve नहीं किए. ठीक है जी. So this was an important editorial that you guys need to understand. चलिए, moving to the next part. Okay. Now again an issue has been referred to the Constitution bench to take up Section 6A of Citizenship Act for preliminary determination. Now I think everyone is aware of the particular Assam Accord that was signed between Rajiv Gandhi in 1985 with the leaders of Assam movement in order to, let's say, solve the dispute that was coming from the loss of opportunities of employment of the territorial limits if we talk about the illegal migrants that were coming from Bangladesh. So there was a lot of movement that was going on this particular area. It started with 1979 through All Assam Student Union, but finally it was over with the Assam Accord that was signed in 1985. But the major thing you have to understand over here is they introduced Section 6A in the 1955 Act. Now this Section 6A is very, very important for you guys to understand. Why? Because here two dates are very, very important. That is 1 January 1966 and 25th March 1971. According to this Section 6A, the people who came into Assam before this particular date are entitled to rights and obligations of a particular citizen. उनको सभी rights and obligations हैं, but जो इस डेट के बीच में आए हैं, those who have come between 1 January 1966 and 25th March 1971, they are not entitled to vote. इनके पास राइट्स हो सकते हैं पर इनके पास वोटिंग राइट्स नहीं हो सकते हैं. दे डू नॉट हैव द राइट टू वोट इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द पीपल हु केम बिटवीन 1 January 1966 and 25th March 1971. Now the problem over here is the introduction of this particular act only, that is section 6A, because there is a debate that is there between the, let's say, the petitioners that are saying that we do not want this particular section 6A because initially, according to Indian Citizenship Act 1955, 19 June 19 July 19 1948 was decided as the cut-off date for granting citizenship. Now this thing is very important to understand. Originally this date was decided, but after section 6A these dates were modified, that I have just told you. Now this issue has been pending before the various benches and Supreme Court was waiting for the National Register of Citizens of Assam to be prepared in August 2019. So finally they have now taken up this issue to the Constitution bench in order to decide, let's say, the legitimacy of this particular section 6A of Citizenship Act for preliminary determination. The major issue over here is, let's say people coming from outside are living in our area. Obviously they would be using our land, they would be using our resources, they would be having the voting rights, they would have certain rights. So it could lead to natives losing out on certain particular resources of their particular state. That could be very, very detrimental to their development, and states argue that why they shall risk their opportunities for their residents against those particular illegal migrants that came from Bangladesh. So the issue is related to this particular granting citizenship, whether which date shall be taken as the cutoff date, July 19, 1948, or we have the 1st January 1966, and there is also another date, 25 March 1971. I hope this point is clear to everyone, right? Okay. अब एक चीज बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग है, no change in air quality in most cities covered by national program. I think everyone is aware that in 2019 we launched National Clean Air Program that was to reduce particulate matter 2.5 and PM10 by 2024. The amount that would be reduced was to be around, let's say, initially 20 to 30%. Certain cities were identified where this particular program would be launched. But the problem over here is most of the cities are not able to implement this particular national clean air programs. Only few cities have tried to implement this and are able to see the reduction of PM 2.5 and PM 10. So as a result, this particular news is in this particular newspaper that no change in air quality in most cities covered by national program, right? So this is a particular report that has been taken by Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air. This particular report has been brought by Center for Research on Energy and Clean Air. I hope this point is clear to everyone related to National Clean Air Program that was to reduce PM 2.5 and 10 concentration by 2024 by at least 20 to 30%. And their levels and the cities were identified on the basis of the air pollution levels between 2011 to 2015, and total 132 cities were identified. We call these cities as non-attainment cities. Very, very important. हम इन cities को क्या बोलते हैं? Non-attainment cities that were not able to keep the concentration of PM 2.5 and PM 10 as according to the global standards. So this is the particular thing that they have written over here, that no change in air quality in most cities covered by national program, right? चलिए, moving to the next part. There is nothing that much important over here in the states page. Then again Joshimath issue is going on, and one thing they are saying, with trade pact becoming a reality, Australian PM set to visit India. I think this is, everyone is aware of the situation that India has signed comprehensive let's say economic cooperation and trade agreement, very important, economic cooperation and trade agreement with Australia, as according to which Indian exports would get fair access if we talk about their exports, right? तो ये चीज बड़ी इंटरेस्टिंग है समझने के लिए, ठीक है? तो हमें इससे बहुत ज्यादा एडवांटेज होएगा, कंसीडरिंग द एडवांटेजेस वी आर एबल टू सी आर फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट दैट वी हैव आल्सो साइंड विद यूनाइटेड अरब एमिरेट्स. It is not quite a free trade agreement, but it is also, we could put in the category of preferential trade agreement like this particular economic cooperation and trade agreement. Chaliye, moving to the next part, then there is a world page, nothing that much important over here. Then we have our finally economics page. One thing you have to note over here, Michael Patra reappointed RBI Deputy Governor. Now this thing is very interesting. Dr. Patra, central banker, is in charge of monetary policy at the RBI and is member of the Monetary Policy Committee. Now I think everyone is aware there is a Monetary Policy Committee that constitute of 6 members that is headed by the RBI Governor, right? तो इसके अंदर अगर हम बात करें मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी कमेटी की, तो ये जो है हमारे डिप्टी गवर्नर, ही हैज बीन रीअपॉइंटेड, दैट इज माइकल पत्रा. I hope this point is clear to everyone, right? चलिए जी. Okay, so we are done with our particular analysis for today, and finally Kohli hits 45th ODI ton. Nothing that much important, but just you need to be aware of these particular situations regarding our sports news as well. Okay, I hope this point is clear to everyone. We are done with our analysis. If anyone has any doubt related to analysis, you can ask me. You have any questions related to any news, you can ask me. I am happy here to help you guys, right? So you can ask me your questions and I would be happy to solve them. Anyone has any doubt? So the main news that you have to understand is the Tamil Nadu governor walking out. What was the issue? The talk about cultural renaissance, basically about the Kashi Tamil Sangam. And then we have this particular stalemate between Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, National Clean Air Program, and these are the particular issues that are there in front of us. Prakash, you want to get a strategy for UPSC exam? Let's say if you have any query related to this, you can dial in our comment box. There is a number, you can dial on it and have your all strategy redefined if you want. पूछो राजेंद्र, what you have the doubt regarding the corruption article? Okay, see जोशीमठ में land subsidence हुई है. There is the problem of, let's say, I will quickly try to tell you. Let's say this is the area of Joshimath, this is the land area. Now the area below this land was initially a debris only that was created from a landslide. Now this is already a very soft area. You keep on having the development, you keep on digging the tunnels, this area is gonna become weak. As a result, the ground is subsiding or the land is subsiding. I hope you are clear with this particular thing, right? Hanji Mrinal. Okay Rajendra, this is gonna take a lot of time. Phillips curve, inflation and unemployment. If you want to have another, let's say, doubt, you can call me and ask me your doubt, right? Chaliye ji. I'm ending the session for you guys. Take care. Thank you so much. And okay. Okay, don't go there in that much context. Inflation and corruption have been, let's say, Phillips curve. So keep on reading the Hindu newspaper. We would see each other tomorrow, same time, 9 AM, right? Thank you so much. Take care. Bye bye.